Hey, I'm Juan Pablo,
And I'm Logan.
and we will be debating the life and presidency of Ronald Reagan.
I'll be arguing the good side.
And I'll be arguing the negative side.
Our first topic will be on the effectiveness of his foreign policy.
Reagan's foreign policy stated that the government would give aid to the armies fighting against communism in Guatemala, and at the same time, government leaders made public speeches in support of human rights and the return of the rule of the people. The U.S.'s influence on Guatemala helped bring Rios Montt into power, and Ronald supported Rios Montt's ideas.
However, at the time, JP, you forget that the United States was fighting communism, and the guerrillas that were fighting against Rios Montt's program were communist. What Ronald Reagan was simply doing was defending his own interests in the same continent. And I know that JP frequently says that it's the Guatemalans' decision. However, you forget that there were Guatemalans on both sides of this conflict, on Rios Montt's side and the side of the guerrillas.
Ronald Reagan already knew that Rios Montt was killing so many people. And despite this, he had stated that Rios Montt's program was working, and that he was being judged unjustly. You have just inferred that many Guatemalans were on both sides of this conflict. You don't really know this, and the Guatemalan army was only doing what they had been told, even though they thought it was unfair. Well, that's what a lot of Guatemalans have been doing for a long time.
However, you really don't know that either. It's a moot point. Neither of us can prove either way. I can't prove that there were a lot of people were against it, and you can't prove that a lot of people were for it. This is a moot point, alright?
Yeah. All right.
However, his foreign policy did not only prevail in Central America, but in the Middle East as well, such as in countries such as Iran and Iraq. Our next section will be about the Strategic Defense Initiative, or as some call it, the Star Wars program.
This SDI project was kind of like a movie, had many movie factors into it. It had like all kinds of X-ray lasers and missiles shot out of the
Gatling
sky.
guns, and using
all kinds
laser
of
imaging
stuff
to
from like
track
movies.
track missiles.
Yeah, exactly.
It was never, it didn't.
And it would be impossible for the technology they had at the time. And actually, $30 billion were invested into this, and this project was not even carried out. So it was kind of like a dumb idea.
However, what most people don't know is that the Strategic Defense Initiative was never actually meant to work. The point of the Strategic Defense Initiative was not to actually be able to shoot missiles out of the sky. It was just for the Soviets to think that we could. If the Soviets knew that we could get rid of all of their possible attacks, shoot their missiles out of the sky as they fired them, they would be struggling to keep up and would in turn bankrupt themselves trying to keep up with our technology.
It did provoke a lot of anxiety from the Soviet Union, but it still wasn't even carried out at the end, and it still used a lot of money, which has affected the U.S. national debt.
However, it was the cost of preventing a Soviet Union nuclear attack, which I'm sure President Ronald Reagan would have done anything to prevent.
Actually, I think Ronald Reagan could have started the peace talks, which he did do quite a bit of peace talks earlier, so then he would have prevented all this money being used up and all this time wasted.
However, the Soviets only listened to the peace talks because they no longer had any money, because of the Star Wars program and the other technological arms race.
But he still could have started earlier and at least tried without all this stuff going on, and it would just save time, and this war would have been over earlier. So,
okay. Our third and final topic will be the effects of Reaganomics on the U.S. economy.
Beautiful. Okay. Reagan's plans to reduce taxes had almost no effect but to increase the national debt, because he had to borrow money from other countries. Okay, so Reaganomics, or voodoo economics, is to lower taxes to the minimal, so then people have more money to invest in other companies, which will eventually expand and increase the economy, theoretically.
In the beginning of Ronald Reagan's presidency, taxes plummeted because he cut spending on non-essential programs. However, later in the presidency, taxes increased because of defense spending. If you spend more money on defense, it is necessary that taxes increase so that you can pay for it. In the end, the choice is yours. Was Ronald Reagan's presidency effective or ineffective?
You can contact us at 139
or 124 at antiguaas.org. Thanks for your time.